What's up everyone, me JP2 here, and in today's video we have my level 50 perfect IV Shadow Machamp in the Master Premier. Now this thing, it's a lot of fun, and with the buff to Karate Chop and the thing now using Stone Edge instead of Rock Slide, it's very good. I mean, the thing's just a pretty powerful closer as long as it's not something like Togekiss, and even if it is Togekiss, you have Stone Edge which can hit for huge damage. Now Machamp, especially in the shadow form, can be kind of glassy, and that can lead to problems, as sometimes you just get fast moved through before you can even make it to enough charge moves, which can suck, but overall, I do think it's pretty fun. Anyways, that's pretty much it. Let's get to the battles. Alright, so into the first battle, and we lead Machamp into Excadrill. Absolutely amazing lead, because we're just going to consistently outpace them. Opponent safe switches Dragonite, and main problem with Dragon Breath users being safe switched for me is I don't have a really hard answer. Like, my best answer is probably Scissor, but Scissor will still take some pretty heavy damage from Superpower. Opponent, they Dragon Claw me, which is good because if they had gone for the Superpower like they did now and I hadn't shielded, I would have just lost Switch. And it's not the end of the world because Gyarados still does fairly well in the Excadrill, but I'd rather have Switch advantage. Now the opponent sends back in the Excadrill, and I make it to back-to-back Night Slash. Now this first one, not going to be doing too much, and I try to make it to an Iron Head. I think it does a bit more, I'm not entirely sure. But second Night Slash hits pretty hard, and the opponent's going to go for a Drill Run. Now Drill Run, going to hit for some pretty decent damage, but it doesn't actually take me out. Now the opponent has a Leafeon in the back, which is pretty cool, and I was so scared they're going to Solar Beam me here. I know Leafeon learns Solar Beam, but this opponent, I guess I don't have it, as they're just going to go for Leaf Blade. Now, I have a move banked on my Machamp. I don't think I knew that during the battle. I forgot that I actually did that. So I think I was trying to play like I had to get rid of this Leafeon. So now, I will be committing a shield, because I need to get at least one more Aqua Tail off to get their second shield. Opponent tries to catch onto Excadrill. I'm just going to Aqua Tail the Excadrill to get rid of it. And now the opponent sends back in Leafeon. They have to throw a move, because otherwise I'll make it to an Aqua Tail, which will force their shield. My Machamp has a lot more energy than I remembered, probably because Karate Chop just generates energy so fast. And as a result, I'm going to be able to have back-to-back cross chops after one Karate Chop. Second cross chop, we'll take him out, and we take that game. Awful lead for the next battle, and I don't really have... I'm kind of ABA weak to Togekiss, just because of the fact that Gyarados doesn't do too well into it either. But I kind of have to safe switch Scissor, and the opponent is staying in for God knows what reason, but they're going to go for an Ancient Power, going to just get shielded, and now I'm just going to go for a full farm down. Not entirely sure why they stayed in, and they sent in Hydreigon. I guess they thought I had a Bug-type move or something, and thus didn't want to bring in Hydreigon. I don't know, but we'll have to see what other Pokemon they had in the back that would make them not want to bring in that into Scissor either, but we're just going to send in Machamp, outpace them because this thing is spammy as heck, and they have Swampert in the back. I can see why they wouldn't bring Swampert in, just because if my Scissor has Trail Blaze, it just lights out for the Swampert. But at the same time, I do feel like that's a better answer than Togekiss. Regardless, they stayed in with the Togekiss, and that works in my favor. Machamp almost gets the KO. I'm going to switch into Gyarados, farm him down, and we take the game. Another Excadrill lead. This opponent stays in for a second, and then safe switches into Metagross. Now, Metagross, if they land an Earthquake, they can just shield and farm down, which can get annoying, and Night Slash doesn't hit for too much damage. My Scissor is not maxed, by the way. But so, they're going to Earthquake me, it's going to do some pretty decent damage, and I'm going to just commit the Night Slash, they commit a shield, so they take Switch. Thankfully, I'm not all that bothered about Switch advantage, because I still have two pretty good answers to Metagross. They Earthquake the Gyarados for some reason, let's send in Vaporeon. Now, it's not really a good thing to send into Gyarados because, you know, Water Gun's going to be resisted, and I don't know what moves Vaporeon could have that could hit for super effective besides Last Resort. Crunch can hit for some nice damage. It's actually a CMP tie. Opponent goes for a Water Pulse, which kind of strange. I'm pretty sure Scald is just better, but I'm not entirely sure. The opponent sends an Excadrill, and my Aqua Tail will just be doing some very nice damage, so they shield it. I'm going to send in Machamp. I already have a Cross Chop loaded. Cross Chop will take out the Excadrill, and they have Metagross, and they just concede the match. hopping into the next battle, and we see another excadrill lead. The opponent stays in for a bit longer this time. They actually haven't switched out yet, so I get to take a guaranteed shield with this cross chop. And then the opponent, I think they just banked a drill run, and then they send in Garchomp. Now, I have Gyarados, which can hit for super effective with Dragon Breath, but since Dragon Breath doesn't get same type attack bonus, it's not going to do too much damage. Now, if they hit me with the Sand Tomb itself does nothing, but the debuff it applies does make the Dragon Tails do more. Thankfully, I'm just able to Aqua Tail and farm him down, and then they send in the excadrill again. Now, I'm going to hit him with an Aqua Tail, get a shield, so now I'm up 2 shields. And at this point, I'm just happy to give both of those shields to Machamp and see what happens. Now, I will lose CMP on the drill run, and so as a result, I'm going to have to commit a shield, but this cross chop will take out the excadrill. Now, it does depend on what's in the back, and in the back, it is Gyarados, and that Gyarados appears to be on Bite. I'm not entirely sure why, but we're just going to Stone Edge them and just not think about it. So, we're going to farm them down, and we are able to take the game. We lead Machamp into Togekiss in the next battle. I wonder if this time the opponent will stay in. Nope. And so, this is immediately pretty bad, as my best answer to Togekiss is going to get invalidated by Machamp. Now, they shield the Night Slash. At this point, there is a chance that we can win this. I shield, they Rock Slide for absolutely no reason. I think Cross Chop would be fine there. But now I'm going to Iron Head them. Iron Head, they actually let it go and it takes them out. They then send in Togekiss, and I'm going to go for another Iron Head. Now, this Iron Head will do huge damage if they don't shield it, so of course I shield it. And now the Togekiss is in a much more manageable health range. So they're going to go for an Ancient Power, or an Aerial-Ace, I don't know. It actually ends up being an Aerial-Ace. I was pretty surprised by that. And then they try to make a catch onto their own Gyarados. We're just going to send in Machamp. No move they have at this energy can take me out. So, Aqua Tail won't take me out. Hits for some decent damage. Doesn't take me out, though. And we're going to Stone Edge. Stone Edge annihilates the Gyarados. And now, I could have gone for a Cross Chop. I probably should have, as you're going to see right here that this Aqua Tail doesn't KO now. But thankfully, we have a shield, so we'll just shield this move. And Gyarados can farm them down. So, a couple more Dragon Breaths, takes them out, and we take the game. Another Excadrill lead. Excadrill leads were really common for like the first part of the battles that I was doing, but they just disappeared later. I have no idea why. Opponent, safe switches a Charmer. Always fun to see that because you can just send in a Steel type and it's kind of lights out for them. And they're going to be able to go for a move here. I have no need to shield this. They go for a Disarming Voice. I have no idea why, but we're just going to let it go and we get the farm down and we keep switch. They then send in Rhyperior, and they're probably going to want to commit a shield on this. Even if it was not an Iron Head, then it could have been a Trailblaze, and Trailblaze would do more, frankly. Now, we're going to send in Gyarados. Gyarados is going to get hit with a Breaking Swipe, so they did bait me there. And because they have an Excadrill and a Rhyperior left, Gyarados just destroys them. But you know what else destroys them? Fighting types. So we're just going to let this go. Machamp can easily close out this game. Rock Wrecker will wreck Gyarados, and we're just going to be able to Cross Chop the Rhyperior. Rhyperior gets taken out by that, and Excadrill will also get taken out by a Cross Chop. You can just see the lightning fast pacing here. Cross Chop takes out the Excadrill, and we get a 2-shield flex as well. We see an Avalugg on the lead in the next battle. That's a nice thing about Master Premier. Some people are excited to try out picks that would just not fare well in the Open Master League, but with the power cap set a bit lower, it makes it possible to use, like, Avalugg. Not even the Hisuian Avalugg, but the regular Avalugg, too, which is even more cool. Now, we're going to answer this Dragonite safe switch with a Scissor. I believe that's what happened. I might have got distracted while talking. But we're actually able to farm them down on 1 HP, so we're able to take shield advantage and switch advantage, which is just hilarious. Now, we're going to be able to go for a Aqua Tail into the Rhyperior. Rhyperior will shield because Aqua Tail will hit for an absurd amount of damage. It's a Rhyperior. They Rock Wrecker me. Doesn't actually take me out, so I think this is a slightly underleveled Rhyperior, kind of like how my Scissor is underleveled. But Cross Chop rocks the Rhyperior, and they have the Avalugg in the back. They have to rely on fast move pressure now because we have 2 shields. They're not getting to enough moves with Ice Fang. But thankfully, Machamp, with the Karate Chops, farms them down, and we take the game. See another Rhyperior lead in the next battle. Or maybe the first one, I'm not keeping track. Opponent safe switch is Dragonite. That's definitely happened before. And so, at this point, I don't want my opponent to force switch. So I will shield. They hurricane me. I miss a bunch of bubbles. I think I was distracted during this game. I might have dropped my phone or something. But then we proceed to get an attack boost from the Night Slash. It's going to be a lot harder for them to fight for Switch now, so they just let the Night Slash go. And they send in their own Scissor. So we're going to Night Slash them. Night Slash will get shielded. And now we're just going to be able to go for another Night Slash. This probably won't get a shield. But so... Oh, they shield it. Okay. Now, they do throw right before I make it to another move, which is smart of them, because they probably don't want to tank a boosted Night Slash. And now it looks like I'm going to be after one that takes the boosted Night Slash, because they get a boost. But so their Night Slashes aren't going to do too much, actually. I think 2 more of them might take me out, but besides that, should be fine. So there goes another one. Opponent tries to catch on Rhyperior. I just realized they're on Smackdown, and Machamp is going to be fine with that. Slower pacing and less damage due to the typing. But so, we're still going to shield because, oh, they superpower me. Wasn't entirely expecting that, but kind of glad I shielded. They then send in Scissor. Pretty sure a Cross Chop would do the trick at this range, but we have Stone Edge, why not? Looks like the opponent's Force Quit, yeah, Stone Edge wrecks the Scissor, and we take that game. Into the next battle, and we lead Machamp into Rhyperior. Pretty good lead, opponent immediately sends in Dragonite, and I think that was the second Rhyperior lead in a row we've seen. These battles are mostly in order. Sometimes I'll change the order a bit, but for the most part, I like to keep the battles in pretty good order. Now, I'm going to Night Slash Dragonite. They appear to really want Switch advantage if they're shielding, and I'm not going to let them have it easily. They Dragon Claw me. I'm going to farm up a bunch of energy because they're more likely to shield when I have a potential nuke move. They're going to let the Night Slash go, though, and now I'm going to go for another one. I think this might take him out. I'm not entirely sure. It does, and we actually get a boost. Now we get 3 boosted bullet punches, and then the opponent immediately sends in Metagross. Now Gyarados is an insanely good answer to Metagross, as we are a full-on wall. They can Meteor Mash me. I think 2 Meteor Mashes plus the bullet punches still do take me out, which is unfortunate, but we have Crunch, and Crunch will hit for some very good damage. Opponent lets it go, and at this point they're in Aqua Tail range. I'm going to let the Meteor Mash go because I know I can make an Aqua Tail before they farm me down. This will either grab a shield or take him out. Opponent just lets it take him out. But it's still the Rhyperior in the back. And as a result, Machamp is going to have a lot of fun. Machamp is going to be able to land a Cross Chop. They probably know that they can't shield at all the Cross Chops. They go for a Rock Wrecker. This game's over. We farm him down, and we take that game. Pretty bad lead in the next battle. So we're going to immediately send in Scissor. That is another thing. I am ABA weak to Primarina, just full on get destroyed by it if my Scissor isn't aligned to it. So, having to safe switch it into the Primarina can be very bad. Now they Breaking Swipe me, and as a result I actually get a farm down, which is very nice. They then send in Dragapult. That is a very cool pick. I think I'm still going to lose this battle. And I don't get new mechanic, which unsurprising yet disappointing. And so, we're going to have to send in Gyarados. Gyarados will have to tank a Breaking Swipe. We get the attack drop too, which is lovely, because now I have to switch out, and setting a Machamp into a Charmer is not particularly fun. I don't even think I make it to a Cross Chop plus a Stone Edge here. I'm just going to go for a Cross Chop because they're still probably going to shield. And they do, and now I will be able to make it to another Cross Chop, which it is resisted damage, but it's still damage, and basically all the damage I can do at this point is resisted, so it's still good. Now I'm going to go for an Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail will get a shield, not surprised, but now they're going to go for a move. I'm hoping a Crunch KOs at this range, but I don't think it will. So Crunch, we're going to go for it. I think it does slightly more than Aqua Tail. So Crunch barely doesn't take him out, and we do lose that game, unfortunately. See Garchomp lead to the next battle, and this will highlight one of the flaws of Machamp's glassiness, where the opponent, as long as they want to commit at least a shield or 2, will just fully farm through Machamp. They're going to Sand Tomb me, and I think they're 3 Dragon Tails away from a farm down now. So I can go for a Cross Chop, but I won't make it to another one. The regular Machamp could make it to 3, which is unfortunate, but thankfully Gyarados can come in, and since they're on Dragon Tail, I seriously doubt they're on Outrage. So they're going to Sand Tomb me, not going to do too much, it's a Sand Tomb after all. And they're going to send in Metagross. Now, having my defense debuffed is annoying here, because I'd really like to stay in here, but I'm going to be taking extra damage the longer I stay in. I'm just going to Crunch. Crunch will do some very nice damage. Opponent decides to shield it, so I'm going to go for another Crunch. This crunch will probably get them below the yellow, so we go for it, and we're going to immediately send in Scissor. Opponent sends in Tyranitar. Not a good response to Scissor, in my opinion, as Iron Head hits for some very good damage. They can go for a move here. Nothing they have at this energy range will take me out. Brutal Swing still does some very nice damage, doesn't take me out. We're still within a range of surviving one Bullet Punch, so we're going to be able to just make it to a Night Slash. Opponent appears to have Force Quit the app again. Love it when people do that. And we farm them down with a Night Slash, or I shouldn't say farm them down, but we take them out. We take the game. Terrible lead in the next battle. Immediately safe switch into Scissor, and the opponent responds with Metagross. This is a very flippable matchup, as I'm able to hit for super effective with Night Slash, and they don't have anything that can hit me for super effective. Now, I think this is just a Meteor Mash, so Meteor Mash hits for some very impressive damage regardless, but they're probably in Night Slash range now, so I should be able to get switch advantage, and so the opponent will just let it go. They send an Excadrill, and Excadrill will have to tank a Night Slash. We get a boost. Those 2 Bullet Punches probably meant nothing, but now they send in the Togekiss immediately. Now, 2 Shield Charmer and you don't have anything that resists Charm is extremely annoying, to put it simply. But now, I'm going to have to commit a Shield. If this is an Ancient Power and they get the boost, I'm leaving on the spot. Thankfully, they don't, and now I'm just going to be able to Aqua Tail after Aqua Tail. So, that Aqua Tail will hit for some nice damage, and I'm going to go for another one. This gets the Shield 10 times out of 10, and I'm going to have to immediately send in Machamp. Now, this is extremely obviously an Ancient Power, but I still have to shield it to maintain HP. Opponent tries to catch on the Excadrill, but they're just going to catch a Cross Chop. Cross Chop will take out the Excadrill. So, after a brief period of time where the opponent appears to have Force Quit the app again, I hate this so much. Why do people do this? But, yeah, they Force Quit the app. We're just going to farm down and take the game. We see Metagross on the lead in the next battle. Pretty decent lead, but I'm still going to safe switch out into Scissor. I don't know why I thought this was a good idea in previous matches, but I don't think I'm going to do this anymore. Opponent farms up a bit and then sends in Garchomp. Now, Garchomp is reasonably tanky, and we're just going to go for Night Slash. Now, if this isn't an Earth Power, we should be able to make it to an Iron Head. It's just a Sand Tomb, and Dragon Tail, since it's resisted, isn't going to do too much. I decided to go for the double Night Slash because I do think it's going to do more damage overall, and it definitely will because they shielded it. Now, this second Night Slash will do more damage, but they actually shield that too. So now they're just down 2 shields, and Shadow Machamp, if you give it 2 shields, is just an insane closer. Gyarados will fully farm down the Metagross. Sorry, not the Metagross, the Garchomp, and I'm going to just send in Machamp. A really questionable play, but I'm going to Stone Edge the Togekiss. Oh, I honestly did not even see that catch. Regardless, I'm going to just Cross Chop the Metagross, get rid of him. And now the Togekiss should be in an HP range where Gyarados should be able to make it to 3 Aqua Tails. If they Ancient Power and get a boost, this game is over, but thankfully they don't. Now, I'll be able to Aqua Tail them. Aqua Tail will deal some nice damage. I'll make it to another Aqua Tail, and I am not in a range where 4 Charms will take me out. At least I don't think. So, thankfully, I'm going to be able to make it to another Aqua Tail. This Aqua Tail will take out the Togekiss, so thankfully we are able to take out the pesky Charmer, and we do take that game. Into the next battle, and we lead Machamp into Excadrill. Good lead. Opponent immediately sends in Gardevoir, actually. So finally we get a different Charmer besides Primarina and Togekiss, which is refreshing, but still going to get shut down by Scissor. Now we're going to go for double Night Slash. This second Night Slash will 100% take him out, and they do shield it. Now, I'm going to be honest, I wasn't counting here, and so I didn't know if that was a Shadow Ball, and I was not about to lose Switch like that, so I do commit a shield. Probably not the best moment in my GBL career, but whatever. I go for Night Slash, does some okay damage. I miss the excellent on it again. Opponent wins CMP on the Drill Run will take me out. And so, we now have Machamp into the Excadrill. We've seen this before, Machamp, just the insane pacing that this thing has. Just going to make it to a Cross Drop. I'm going to shield here just because I think they might have a Flying type in the back or something. That is not a Flying type, but it certainly is weak to Rock. I am going to Stone Edge this Walrein, and the Walrein just gets obliterated. Now, Excadrill, not even going to be able to make it to a move, as we Cross Chop them. Cross Chop will take out the Excadrill, and we do take that game. Into the next battle, and we lead Shadow Machamp into Garchomp. Once again, this opponent could probably just 2-shield through my Garchomp if they want. Sorry, through my Machamp if they want. So we're just going to go for a Cross Chop. Opponent lets it go, because Cross Chop's not going to do too much. Appears they lagged for a bit there, which is unfortunate. And now they're going to go for a Sand Tomb. Sand Tomb, not going to do too much. And going to go for another Cross Chop. Now the opponent shields it. And I think because they lagged, I may get to another Cross Chop, which is unfortunate. I probably should have just let my Machamp get farmed down, to be fair, but I sided against it. Now I send in Scissor, and they have Magnezone on the back, which immediately makes this game very difficult. They are on Spark, though, for some reason. I'm going to shield. They're definitely going to continuously bait me. Thankfully, there's no debuff. If there's a debuff, I would be so mad. But now, I'm going to go for Night Slash. We actually get a boost, too, which is hilarious, because now, even if they do get an attack debuff, we still are boosted. Now, they don't get an attack debuff, and this Night Slash will definitely take out this Magnezone now, which is good, because I have no way of farming them down. They send in Sylveon, and they're going to go for a move. Now, they probably going to go for a move. Nope, they go for a Side Shock. Not entirely sure why. The opponent just immediately concedes the match when they see how little damage it does. Pretty bad lead, as we are entirely walled by Annilape. Just save switch Gyarados, and Gyarados is going to have to tank Nice Punch. I think some of these battles were before Mankey Community Day and others were after, so some Annihilapes might have Rage Fist and others don't. I don't think this one did. Now, I'm just going to fight for Switch here because I can, because Metagross is not a good response to Gyarados. I probably could have Aqua Tailed here, but I just want to get a KO. They shield, so I definitely should have Aqua Tailed, and now I think that might cost me. And it does, because if I had gone for an Aqua Tail, I would have been able to just go for a second one before they had a Meteor Mash. Now I have to give up another shield before taking Switch, which is unfortunate. They send in an Annilape, though, and I should be able to make it to a move here. I do. Aqua Tail will hit for some okay damage, but Annilape is decently bulky. They shield it, and I was pretty surprised by that, and then they go for a Farm Down. That Farm Down is pretty bad because Shadow Ball will hit very hard into Scissor. So, Shadow Ball does a massive amount of damage, and they send in Rhyperior. So this might be difficult. I think I have to get them into a range where Scissor can farm them down, and then I can have energy to throw into the Annilape. Or if I can just maybe take them out with my Machamp, and yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I think Scissor will win CMP over Annilape, not entirely sure. But they get a farm down, but I don't think that's enough energy for him. We have a Night Slash. That looked like CMP, so we win CMP, I guess. Night Slash takes him out. Oh, unnecessary boost, and we take him out. We see a Machamp Mirror in the next battle, and once again the opponent's on counter. Not entirely sure why, but I'm going to farm up to 6 so I can CMP tie him. Now, I go for a Cross Chop. Cross Chop hits for some decent damage, and the opponent once again farms up to enough for a Rock Slide. They go for a Rock Slide, and then they send in Dragonite. If they no-shield this Stone Edge, they're going to regret it. Oh my gosh. It's a huge damage. Opponent, they're not having it. They just leave. We see a Magnezone lead in the next battle. Extremely good, as we're just going to completely outpace them and everything. Opponent saves, which is a Charmer. Lovely experience when you have a Steel type to send in. And we're going to hit him with an Iron Head. Opponent has really no way of getting Switch advantage here. But I think with Hydro Cannon, they might be able to get a shield from me, which is embarrassing for a Steel type, but whatever. We actually get a shield first, though, with a Night Slash, which is very nice. And now, I'm just going to let it go. Sorry, we're not going to let it go. It's a Moonblast. That would take us out. Thankfully, we have a shield. Opponent sends in Magnezone. They're going to get a very nice energy head start, which is kind of unfortunate. But what can you do? We get a very unnecessary boost, because I think that does nothing for the 2 bullet punches, because they're double resisted. Now, opponent Mirror Shots me, and then they send in Excadrill. Now, Excadrill could be problematic. They go for a Drill Run, though, so are they on Drill Run and Earthquake? I really don't know. Now, I'm going to go for a Aqua Tail. Does not take them out, which is actually pretty bad, because otherwise I'd have a bit more HP before the Magnezone could farm me down. But thankfully, I still think I'll be able to make it to 2 Aqua Tails. And if I do, I can snipe with Machamp. Or they can shield it, and I can just immediately snipe with Machamp. This Cross Chop will take him out, and we are going to be able to take the game. Into the next battle, and we lead Machamp into Gyarados. Not a good lead, so probably just going to switch out. I do, and I send in my own Gyarados. They're on Waterfall, and then they send in a Garchomp. Now, this is a very easy matchup to flip switch, and I think I'm going to do that. Now, if they're on something like Mudshot, Sandtomb, and Outrage, or Mudshot, Earth Power, and Outrage, they have a move that can hit me, but Outrage won't take me out. Now, they Sandtomb me, so really makes very little sense, but alright. And then they Sandtomb me again. They then send in their own Gyarados again, which I don't know why. But we're just going to crunch them. Crunch will deal some okay damage. We get a defense drop, thankfully. And now they're going to go for a move. I don't think anything they have could take me out. Aqua Tail will not take me out. I'm just going to go for a Cross Chop. Especially with the defense debuff, this will take him out. So just going to go for Cross Chop, takes him out. And they have Metagross in the back. My Gyarados is still relatively healthy, so I could use it on Metagross if I want. But why should I when I have a Scissor? They make a nice catch of the Cross Chop on a Garchomp, but that's perfectly fine. Now, Scissor will just destroy Metagross, and we can move on with our day. Earthquake, not going to take me out. Even if it did, Gyarados cleans this up. We're going to go for Night Slash. Night Slash will take them out, so they're going to shield, because they still think they have a chance. Now, we're going to make it to another Night Slash. This will get us 2 shield flex. Night Slash will take them out. Night Slash gets rid of the Metagross, and we get the 2 shield flex. We lead Machamp and a Hydreigon in the next battle. Extremely good lead, because we just have an absurd pacing advantage, and we have an absurd typing advantage. Cross Chop hits for some very nice damage, and now this is only a Brutal Swing. Brutal Swing does not take me out, and we just get a full farm down. I don't know why the opponent let me do that, but okay. They send in Ursaluna, and Ursaluna is not going to like to tank Cross Chop, and we don't make it to another one, which is unfortunate, but thankfully Gyarados can do well into Ursaluna. If this is a Thunder Punch, it will hurt, but it looks like they're on Swift plus high horsepower, and as a result, we're just going to be doing fine. We're going to go for an Aqua Tail. Won't shield it, so definitely weak in the back. I'm going to shield now just to preserve HP, and they're in a Swift, but we're just going to farm them down with Dragon Breath, and in the back, ooh, it's Rhyperior. That's never fun. Rhyperior is an amazing counter to... Sorry, Gyarados is an amazing counter to Rhyperior. I almost said Rhyperior is an amazing counter to Gyarados. I guess it depends on how many shields there are, actually. Now, we're going to make a very nice catch. Opponent went for a Breaking Swipe, and they just probably should have conceded there, but they try to still win. We just farm them down, we take the game. Next battle, we lead Machamp and a Snorlax. Opponent safe switch is Swampert, and Gyarados is pretty happy about that decision. We're going to let whatever move it is go through. It's a Sludge Wave, which I think a second one would come close to taking us out, so thankfully we're not going to have to deal with that because 2 Aqua Tails. So I'm going to make it to another Aqua Tail. This will take them out. They might shield. They might try and get the amount of shields in play lower. Guess they don't. And they send in Electros. That is a very cool pick on their end. I am very impressed by it. Unfortunately for them, they have to shield the Aqua Tail, and we're going to win CMP with the Cross Chop. So they go from 2 shields to 0 in less than like 10 seconds, basically. I'll be shielding back because I don't want to get hit with some big move because I'm not really familiar with Electros' moves. I'm going to shield again. It's another Dragon Claw, and we're just going to be able to Cross Chop them. This will take them out because these Electros is like under 3000 CP, so it'll take them out. They then send in Snorlax, and Machamp is going to obliterate the Snorlax, to put it simply. Gonna go for a Cross Chop, and at this point, I kind of want to get a catch, so I go for the catch. Let's see what they went for. They went for a Heavy Slam, and they're just done. They got hit with that catch, and they just said no more. We see a Magnezone in the lead in the next battle. Good lead. Opponent stays in for a second, and then sends in Gyarados. Now, pretty dumb decision by me to send in Scissor, but it might work out. I'm going to let this Aqua Tail go. Opponent shielded the Night Slash. Not entirely sure why they did that. But now, I'm just going to go for another Night Slash. Opponent probably wants Switch, and if they get Switch, it can be pretty bad for them. They double shield, so they definitely want Switch. Also, shielding the first Night Slash is a terrible idea. Because if I get a boost, the next one's going to do more. They do get a full farm down, which is pretty bad. But thankfully, they gave Machamp 2 shields, and I'm just going to sacrifice Gyarados. This thing is just going to absorb all of the enemy Gyarados' energy. They get a Crunch debuff because of course they do. And now, I want to get a full farm down so I can leave with an Aqua Tail to use later. Unfortunately, I have to commit a shield because of that. And let's see what they have in the back. Oh, they send in the Magnezone. So they do all of that and then just give up this alignment that they wanted. That works too, I guess. What do they have in the back? Oh, that's a mamoswine. Yeah, I can see why they didn't. I can see why they were just kind of screwed the moment they saw the Machamp lead. They're going to go for an Avalanche. Avalanche is just going to get shielded. Even if I didn't have any shields, Gyarados cleans up with an Aqua Tail, and we take the game. Overall, thing's really fun. Like, you can see in the Great League and the Ultra League just how spammy this thing is with cross-shops. And in the Master League, that also holds true. Now, in the Master League, the thing just gets obliterated by Charmers anyways. Like, Togekiss is more common in the Master League than any other leagues. And as a result, Machamp kind of has to watch out for it because Machamp gets destroyed by it. You can still hit for very nice damage in return with Stone Edge, but for the most part, you have to watch out for the Charmers. As long as you can keep Machamp away from Charmers, it's a lot of fun. Now, if you wanted to build a Machamp like this, I'd recommend a different team than this because you kind of want something a bit more flexible in the back in case you do lead into a Charmer. So, like, Gyarados doesn't do too well in the Charmers, so I wouldn't recommend it if you want to make your own team with it. But this is still a fun team to use. Anyways, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.